Welcome back to episode 5 of the EdgooseWakeford Sportscast. I'm your host Daniel Edgoose, and joining me once again, my co-host
Ben Wakeford back again.
Yeah, back again for another sportscast. A couple of weeks off for various reasons, but we're feeling good about getting back into the
good to go now.
Getting back into the groove of things, and we hope this sportscast is up to par. Obviously, a lot to talk about today, as there has been a fair few stories that have occurred in the last couple of weeks regarding sports we're going to discuss. But should be a good sportscast nonetheless. So we'll start off with football. With football or soccer. And a lot of news, especially with the Champions League
this week.
Games being played this week.
A few large games this week in around the world, even in England as well.
Yeah, these second legs of some huge games.
Yeah.
Really. One that really
footballing giants.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Europe's elite sort of battling it out for place in the last 8 of the competition. And probably the biggest story of the week was the Tottenham Hotspur crashing out of the Champions League against Juventus.
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise, wasn't it? Were you surprised? Oh, you were there, weren't you?
I was in attendance.
What was the atmosphere like after the game? Was it shocking?
Well, during the game it was absolutely electric.
Was it?
The Spurs fans and Juventus fans, credit to them, were really up for it. And then obviously Spurs scored first through Heung-min Son.
Yeah.
Rather scuffed shot, but still found its way to the back of the net and beat 40-year-old Buffon, who had a great game as well. Then the Wembley was absolutely electric. You got a sense that this might sort of be the turn. It might be the sort of point in Spurs' sort of, as a club, where they can be recognised as a European giant, because they've had
taking on the likes of Juventus, going toe to toe with them in the game and then almost coming out on top, but just losing right at the edge of the last game. So they came close.
I mean, over the 2 legs, Spurs were by far the better side.
Yeah.
And they were when they played Real Madrid twice at the group stages, so they're a very good side. They just couldn't really finish sort of their chances, and you have Juventus with one of the best attack duos in the world in Gonzalo Higuain and Paulo Dybala, who literally Juventus had 2 chances all game.
They took the chances,
and some of their finishing was superb. Dybala just literally ran through the Spurs defence. Higuain played 1 pass and he was through and smashed it in, and then the whole complexion of the game changes. Yeah. And it's 2-1 Juventus, and then all the momentum was sort of taken out of Spurs' sort of stride, and they never really got back to sort of where they were before.
No,
they conceded that goal.
They were a bit down after obviously they were a bit.
Well, they conceded 2 goals in 3 minutes. It was such a weird
bit of a
feeling about it. Just such a quick turnaround. Spurs absolutely dominating the game.
Yeah.
And then
what happened to the atmosphere in the ground after those 2 goals went in?
Silence.
Really?
It was just so demoralising for Spurs fans, and it was really strange to see. They had a good chance at the end where Harry Kane hit the post and the ball sort of defied physics and rolled on the line to be cleared by the Juventus back line. But
good performance good result from Juventus though.
Yeah,
to get 2 men away from home.
You'd expect Juventus to sort of. They've been in the Champions League final 2 out of the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Granted, they've both lost both times to very good Barcelona and Real Madrid sides, but they are one of Europe's top sides, and Spurs really gave them a good run for their money. So I think Spurs will be very disappointed that they've been knocked out, because they did play very well.
Yeah.
But on the same time, they can hold their sort of.
Yeah, they can focus on other stuff as well now. They can.
Yeah, they got a good chance of doing well in the FA Cup.
Yep.
And the quarterfinals, they're pushing for top 4 in the league. So
yep.
Things are looking bright for the club, but they'll be disappointed.
On Tuesday, there was 2 games: the PSG versus Real Madrid, which ended in a 2-1 win for Real Madrid on the night, which caused a bit of a. Well, it was 5-2 overall to Real Madrid, so it wasn't close as you'd think it might be between the 2 giants.
Well, PSG are my pick for the Champions League this year.
Yeah, I'd say this was the game, like the 2 biggest teams in the competition going up against each other, and obviously Real Madrid come out on top.
Real Madrid really have struggled. Paris Saint-Germain really struggled in Champions League games. They do exceptionally well in the league most seasons.
Yeah.
granted it, isn't really up to the levels of the Premier League or the Bundesliga.
Some people think that.
Yeah, it's down to debate, but
yeah.
They always seem to stutter in the Champions League around the last 16. Obviously, there was that miracle comeback from Barcelona this time last year, coming back down.
Against PS. That was also against PSG.
From 4-0 off the first leg, and then this season, with all the big signings, Mbappe, Neymar, you'd expect them to, give Real Madrid more of a challenge than they did. Which, is somewhat unfair to say because for a lot of the first leg, PSG was the way more the comfortable side, and in the last 10 minutes, Real Madrid just took over with experience.
Yeah. I think that's probably more down to experience, isn't it? Really. I feel like that the Real Madrid team is vastly more experienced than that PSG team, and that obviously comes into effect in big games like in the Champions League. So obviously they're now through to the quarter-final.
Yeah. Ronaldo again, another goal.
Yeah.
I think what really showed how frustrating it was for PSG was Marco Verratti's red card for basically shouting at the referee. He was already on a yellow card, the decision didn't go PSG's way for a free kick, and then he runs up to the ref and starts screaming in his face, and the referee books him again and sends him off.
Got to have a bit of discipline now though, really.
Yeah, definitely. The game was probably already lost.
Yeah.
But it's just a very frustrating time for PSG in the Champions League, and I can't imagine their manager Unai Emery will, be given another chance really.
No.
There's a lot.
You don't know.
He's been a pretty good manager domestically, but in terms of European competitions, last year obviously losing to Barcelona, it's not looking good for him.
Not looking good. And also on Tuesday was Liverpool versus Porto, which was already game over, kind of stalemate, kind of a leg, and that ended 0-0 anyway.
It was already set in stone. Liverpool would really go out and just sort of experiment, I guess.
Yeah.
Just play it easy, and they still fielded a decent side and still looked like they were going to put a couple in past Porto. A couple of good saves from Iker Casillas, the old veteran, but Porto, I guess, can they'll be disappointed with the aggregate score, but I guess going down the field and getting a draw was something good to salvage a bit of.
And then Basel beating Man City 2-1 on the 9th, but ending up losing 5-2 again on aggregate. Obviously, they can take a lot of credit for going to Manchester and getting a victory, but obviously not the kind of aggregate result that they want overall.
I think a lot of people disregard Basel as sort of one of these sort of pub sides, that just kind of there to fill up the numbers. But English teams, and especially Manchester-based teams, have really struggled.
Yeah.
Manchester United lost there a couple of years back when they didn't get through the group stages. And Basel do have some talented players like Mohamed El Yunusi, who scored against Man City.
Scored on Wednesday, didn't he?
Yeah, so Basel did well to get a win at a place where you can't really think of anyone as.
Not really, not very often anyway. And then next week on Tuesday there's Roma versus Shakhtar Donetsk, which is currently 2-1 to Shakhtar on aggregate, and Man U versus Seville, which is 0-0. And Man United will be looking to become the third out of the 4 teams from England in the Champions League quarterfinals. Do you reckon they could do it?
I'm not confident.
I feel like if they turn up, then if the players play like they can play, I feel like they can do it. Pogba turns up.
Seville, an interesting side because they really are quality.
Yeah.
We saw that against Manchester United in the first leg. They should have been 2 or 3 up. David De Gea made some quality saves. Obviously, it's a different sort of story when Manchester United are at home. I think Mourinho allows players to play with a bit more freedom, to be a bit more expressive, which will benefit players like Pogba. But Seville are a good side. It would be rude. It would be wrong.
Up there against them.
No, it would be wrong to sort of disregard them.
Yeah.
And also some Europa League news. The big story coming from the San Siro.
Yeah.
Where Arsenal sort of ended their 4-game losing streak and beat AC Milan 2-0 with goals from Mkhitaryan and Aaron Ramsey.
Yep.
Which AC Milan have sort of struggled to begin the season after spending a lot in the summer. New manager Gattuso has come in and turned things around. So it's a good score for Arsenal there.
Yeah, very good.
They'll be very happy to go back to the Emirates with 2 away goals.
I'm sure they would, yeah.
And
I saw something on Arsenal Fan TV like the day before, and they were saying that they'd take like a 2-1 loss or something like that. So obviously they'd be absolutely thrilled with a 2-0 victory.
Yeah, AC Milan are no mugs now.
Yeah,
they're already back to sort of decent level there, but they didn't turn up.
Obviously not. So moving on, we're talking American football now, which is kind of the centre of this sportscast. So we'll start off with the NFL free agency. So after the Super Bowl, it's kind of the attention's moved to more trades and the free agents that are becoming available. So some trades have already happened. Yesterday, Aqib Talib was traded from very good cornerback. Aqib Talib was traded from the Denver Broncos to the Los Angeles Rams for only a 5th round pick, which turned some people's heads.
That's a very...
You could say the Rams have done some excellent business there.
That's a brilliant trade for the Rams. For the Broncos, I'm not so sure. You'd probably think this makes sense for the part that, they get the 5th to draft a young player. And also clears cap for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
But, Kirk Cousins is a lottery at the moment. You don't really know who he's going to go to.
Yeah.
And they're giving up probably a top 10 corner in the league in Aqib Talib.
He is getting on with age, but
yeah,
stayed still, as you said, top 10 cornerback in the league, which are now a rarity these days, aren't they, really?
I was very surprised that it was only a 5th.
Yeah, and they've also traded for Marcus Peters from the Kansas City Chiefs, who just seem to be offloading all their best players. But yeah, they've got Marcus Peters for a few picks. I'm not sure how many, it's 1 or 2 picks. They're in the future, which is also a bit of a steal, really.
That is a massive steal, because Marcus Peters is probably one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
If not the best.
And he's still very young.
Very young. Only drafted in 2015, so...
He leads the league in
interceptions since he entered the league, doesn't
exactly.
he? Yeah. So he's obviously that's a nice piece of business for the Rams.
A bit of a head scratcher from Kansas City. Same with the Alex Smith.
I was going to get onto that, but as we brought it up, we'll talk about it now. He's been traded to the Washington Redskins for, I think it was a pick, and then was it Kendall Fuller? Kendall Fuller, the cornerback. So I'm not sure why. It's just obviously they've got their rookie quarterback last year, Patrick Mahomes, who they're obviously very high on. They like him a lot, so they've just offloaded the older Alex Smith, who's maybe more mature and
probably even still just more suited to the role now.
Yeah,
you have to think, they're a really talented side.
They're made to win now, really.
They could be a playoff side next year very well, but
they're playoff side this year.
Yeah, but it does look like they're rebuilding. But
reason.
then what do you do with players like Justin Houston and Travis Kelce?
True.
Do you move them? No. I mean, they're not getting any younger.
You won't move Travis Kelce because he's not the best receiver, really.
Yeah, but you're not getting any younger.
True. Also,
head scratcher.
Michael Bennett's been traded from the Seahawks to the Super Bowl champions, the Eagles, for only a 7th round pick.
Good business.
Yeah, good bit of business, but maybe you could say he's a little bit over the hill. In terms of, obviously, his production's obviously getting lower and lower. He's only had 1 double-digit sack season.
Yeah.
So, but obviously a 7th round pick, like, for a guy who will obviously come in and do a job straight away, you don't know what you're going to get for a 7th round pick.
It's very low risk for a player that is going to, who obviously has talent.
Yeah.
And if he can regain the sort of talent that he had in the sort of prime of his career, then obviously that's going to be a steal of a trade. But
true,
for a team that's already Super Bowl champions,
and they've already got loads of pass rushers on the side, so they're just kind of building players in that position. And then you don't really know what's going on with the Seahawks at the moment, because the talks today that Richard Sherman's being cut as well. The long time people were saying that he's the best corner in the league for the past few years. But then he's coming off 2 ACL injuries, and he's just turned 30 as well, I think. So he's kind of
the sort of Legion of Boom sort of coming to an end. It's ever since that Malcolm Butler pick in the Super Bowl, the Seahawks have just never been the same, really.
You could say. And obviously they've still got a good young quarterback in Russell Wilson, who's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. So that's kind of where they should probably start building from. But their defense is kind of looking a bit thin now.
Yeah, they've gone from having one of the best defenses in NFL history to thinking, it's very thin. And there's a very good chance that Sherman gets released.
Yeah.
So that's An interesting business decision.
Interesting, yeah.
Considering his value 2 years ago, but
true. And there's also some interesting free agents available in the league at the quarterback position, like Drew Brees, who's not been contracted yet by the Saints, but they're in talks apparently. Kirk Cousins has been kind of shut out by Washington. AJ McCarron from the Bengals, Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, and Teddy Bridgewater, all from the Vikings. Where do you think you could see those guys being picked up at? What kind of franchises do you think? Start with Kirk Cousins.
Well, Kirk Cousins has sort of been linked with quite a few teams. The most surprising one, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
The New York Jets, who have said they're willing to, pay him whatever. Just
ridiculous money.
Completely splash the cash for a quarterback who probably does need pieces around him to be successful. So and the Jets don't really have that. So bit of a head scratcher. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns have.
For me, I'd like to see Kirk either at the Jets, the Browns, or the Broncos, somewhere that he can make a difference. Not go to somewhere like the Vikings, who have already got to the NFC Championship game last year. He doesn't really make a difference there as much as he would in the Jets, the Browns, or the Broncos. Do you know what I mean?
There's been some rumours that he's been linked with Arizona,
yeah, the Cardinals. So they need a
that could be an interesting fit. I mean, you got Larry Fitzgerald and Johnson in the backfield. That's talent that he really could utilise. I'm not sure the Jets can offer him that sort of talent. I mean, you have Robbie Anderson, but he's been in a lot of trouble this off season. Best fit for Kirk Cousins would be the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I think Denver would be.
They're weapons.
Even Von Miller said that Kirk Cousins would make them a Super Bowl potential team immediately with just one player. One change.
I mean, you got to remember this is a team that won the Super Bowl without sort of
2 years ago
quarterback at the time. Obviously, Peyton Manning was a Hall of Fame, but he was definitely not the Peyton Manning we used to see him. So and a lot of that defense is still there. You stick Kirk Cousins into the equation.
You're talking money. What about AJ McCarron from the Bengals, the backup at the Bengals? People are high on AJ McCarron.
They have been for a long time.
I know Hugh Jackson, the coach of the Browns, and I'd like to see him there at the Browns. I think if the Browns get him in free agency and then also draft a rookie quarterback, they don't have to do it with one of their two top 5 picks. They can do it down later in the draft. So I'd say get an AJ McCarron and a rookie and let them battle it out for the job.
I can't imagine AJ McCarron would come too expensive as well.
No, I don't think so.
Potential fits really the Browns, or if the Cardinals didn't pursue.
Yeah, Cardinals is a good idea as well.
If the Cardinals didn't pursue Cousins, then AJ McCarron could be a good fit.
What about Case Keenum? Do you think he's a starting quarterback, or do you think he's a backup?
I've always thought Case Keenum is a backup, but this last season you can't bench performances like that.
Can't.
I think he stays in Minnesota.
Do you?
I think he'll stay in Minnesota.
What about Bradford and Bridgewater? Do you think they'll stay in Minnesota? Do you think they'll go?
Well, then you get a situation, don't you, where you
can't have 3 quarterbacks.
Bridgewater and Bradford who kind of have to be moved. I think there's a good chance one of them will stay.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it last season.
True. I think
whether Sam Bradford wants to start, but is there a team willing to pay him?
True.
And is there a team that's
Yeah, I'd like Bradford at the Vikings again. Then Bridgewater. I'd like Bridgewater somewhere like I don't know, the Jets or the Cardinals. I'd see Teddy at the Cardinals.
Yeah. The thing with Teddy is he's not an amazing passer of the ball.
No.
He's got pretty average speed. He's a good game manager.
Yeah.
He's a leader. But where can you sort of put him? I don't really know. That's a strange one. I think the Cardinals again, but it's a tough one. That Teddy Bridgewater is a player. There's nowhere that sort of sticks out to me as a good place for him to go.
Moving on, what do you think about Jimmy Graham? Apparently, he's going to be moving on from the Seahawks. Where do you see him playing his football in 2018?
It's Jimmy Graham. He's still obviously very talented. He's not the player that he was in New Orleans.
No.
And it's a bold one, and I'm not sure if they can manoeuvre to get him. But obviously the Patriots just released Martellus Bennett.
Yeah.
And Belichick likes his sort of double tight end sets. You have Rob
Imagine him and
Gronkowski.
Gronk, Jesus.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of teams who would love to have Jimmy Graham on their offense, but the Patriots, it seems like a Patriots move.
I think I'd like to see him back at the Saints. Him and Drew Brees racking up again.
That'd be a good move.
Yeah.
I don't think the Saints have a surefire tight end.
They've got Kirby Fleener and Josh Hill.
Yeah, but they're not going to set the world alight.
No, that's a good point. I think Jimmy Graham would do nicely there. So moving on to the NFL Combine, which concluded this week in Indianapolis, with all the potential prospects competing to gain scouting attention from NFL scouts. One guy stood above, head and shoulders above the rest, Saquon Barkley. He is now in talks of him being the first overall pick to Cleveland. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, before you're sort of looking at him as sort of a top 4 or 5 pick.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against not being the first pick with that sort of combine.
The numbers that he put up, he was very impressive.
Unbelievable.
Big guy moving that quickly.
Yeah, he's definitely got a big future in the NFL.
Yeah.
Whether the Browns elect to take a running back with the first pick is, really up to them. I mean, it would be sort of a Browns move to take a quarterback and ruin him. But, do they take that sort of chance, or do they go for a surefire running back? I mean, the Browns are the first and fourth pick.
First and fourth, yeah. I can see them trading down from the fourth. I can't lie. Yeah.
Get a package of picks.
Yeah.
Especially for a team that wants a quarterback. Number 4 could be the place where you take it, sort of Josh Allen or whatever.
I mean, moving on to Josh Allen, he actually wowed in Indy with his athleticism. He had the third best 40-yard dash out of the quarterbacks, the best broad jump, and the best vertical jump. So he's obviously an athlete. Yeah. Looking at his stats in college, going to the University of Wyoming, you say, is he coming up against good competition? It's questionable. And then only having 56% passing in his last season, it's just not good enough for the NFL. You're looking at someone like Baker Mayfield who has 70%, and then he's getting all these question marks about his attitude towards the game and attitude off the field. And this guy's getting 56% passing rating, and he's talked to being the number 1 pick.
Well, at the combine, he was absolutely slinging it.
He was.
He looked impressive.
I mean,
not missed throws, but some sort of missed
all
plays.
All the quarterbacks missed throws. None of them were really that thrilling, but Josh Allen had some good deep ball accuracy.
Oh yeah.
He was actually launching it like 60,
that is the one thing
yards.
that stuck out for me for Josh Allen, was he was absolutely launching.
Yeah,
he's got an arm.
Yeah.
He's
got an NFL caliber. Yeah, he's got an NFL caliber arm. He just needs to sort out that accuracy. He's a big guy. I think somewhere like Cleveland, he would do well because he is so big. He can deal with the weather conditions, and he's got a huge arm, which helps a lot.
Do you see him as a franchise guy?
Personally, I don't, purely because of I don't know. Maybe prove me wrong, but the accuracy is a concern.
I agree.
Accuracy is a big concern. One guy who stood out of the combine as well is University of Central Florida linebacker Shaquem Griffin. He showed he can perform with the lack of one hand. He ran the fastest linebacker time ever at the combine with a 4.38, put up 20 reps on the bench press with a prosthetic arm, and boosted himself. Definitely, I see him as a late third, early 4th round pick. Yeah. I know you don't agree with that.
It's not, I don't agree with it.
You can't question the numbers.
Oh no, he was impressive. And he was in college as well.
Yeah.
He's a standout player. Do you see his sort of impairment as justification for his draft stock to potentially fall? That's an interesting point.
Do you see him going higher?
Do you see him going lower than he deserves to if he did?
I think
if he did play with a full without any impairments.
Well, I think people would see him as like a first, second round pick if he didn't have any impairments.
Yeah.
But obviously he does, but he's proved he can deal without those, without one hand. He's done amazing things.
Yeah.
So I think 3rd and 4th round pick, I think he'd be absolutely buzzing.
There's no disputing there's absolutely raw talent there.
Yeah, he's got so much talent.
Whether a team sort of takes that chance on him, which they should, because you can't argue the numbers like you said. It'll be interesting to see how his career plays out in the NFL because we haven't really ever seen anything like it.
He'd probably be a real good special team if he's not. If he's not a first.
The kick can hit.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, he can tackle. There's a big story about the quarterbacks. I think for me, they're all rather unthrilling.
Yeah.
There isn't one guy who stands out above the rest, and they all have numerous flaws. I personally like Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma, even though he's got like the most off the field flaws.
Yeah.
But he's the most like he's definitely the most accurate quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
And then people say Josh Rosen's the most NFL ready. Also Sam Darnold, but he didn't actually throw at the combine, which raised some eyebrows.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure he'll sling it at his pro day. Who do you think the safest pick in the draft is? I'd have to say Quentin Nelson, the guard, who's from University of Notre Dame. He had a really good combine, putting up 35 bench press reps, and he moves smoothly on the field drills, and I see him as a certain top 15 pick. People are saying he's a certified Hall of Famer.
That's questionable.
Yeah.
I think like you mentioned with the quarterbacks, there's a lot of good guys, not one great guy which I feel confident about building my franchise around.
No, I agree.
In terms of sort of safest pick, obviously I would say Barkley, but obviously he's going to be number 1 pick, so you can't really.
Yeah.
I think a player which for a lot of teams as well is cornerback Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, defensive back.
I think he's got a lot of raw talent. Reminds me a lot of Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. He's a bit bigger than Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, but
he played
in terms of
he came to Alabama as a cornerback and then got moved to safety.
In terms of sort of
play both.
raw, in sort of talent, which I haven't sort of been excited about since Ramsey.
Yeah,
I think Fitzpatrick could be a good fit for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think he's
that have needs in that position.
True.
Where do you think Fitzpatrick will fall?
Well, I see him going number 4 to Cleveland. Yeah. I think
he's a top 10 pick.
He's a top 10 pick. He's a safe. I think if Cleveland get their leader on offense, I think personally would be a Sam Darnold, good quarterback. Yeah. And then they get a leader on defense. We're in Minka Fitzpatrick. I think that'll set them good for the future.
Yeah.
Moving on
to the NBA. That's sort of our last sort of
point of topic
discussion on
yeah.
the sportscast. Thoughts on sort of the Houston Rockets and how they sort of built their team the last off season and last year. I mean, the Rockets have always been talented and building around James Harden.
I think grabbing Chris Paul was obviously a good kind of way to improve their team and get better, and obviously, as you said, build around James Harden, who's obviously the star of the league, star of the team.
Yeah, it was a good acquisition, acquiring Chris Paul because he's a pass first point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, James Harden shoots the ball a lot. And
he draws a lot of fouls as well. He obviously looks to get a lot of fouls, doesn't he?
He's an aggressive player.
Yeah.
Obviously, last year and the year before, they were rocking Patrick Beverley at point guard, who's not sort of the most pass first. He's not the most gifted at passing the ball. He makes a lot of simple mistakes.
Yeah.
He's a solid pro and probably a starter for teams, but Chris Paul is definitely an upgrade. Someone who's sort of been at the helm of the New Orleans Pelicans, or when they were the Hornets.
Yeah.
And the LA Clippers moved to the Rockets, and he's still forming. And obviously with James Harden in the backfield as well, they could definitely sort of challenge the sort of dominance that the Warriors have. Yeah. I don't think they will in the end. I think the Warriors are destined for another championship. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a no joke team. It's probably one of the best teams of all time.
Built to win.
And I can see them definitely repeating.
What do you think about James Harden MVP talks?
It's probably the best shot of his career.
Yeah, he's had a really good season, hasn't he? So, and they're they're number 1 seed in the West, above the Warriors as well.
I think a lot of that is down to the sort of acquisition of Chris Paul. Obviously, James Harden can take it away himself, but it definitely helps having that sort of quality point guard.
Talking about LeBron James now, one of the best basketball players ever to grace the court.
Definitely.
There's apparently 4 teams on his radar in terms of free agency which he could hit in the summer. There's the Houston Rockets, as we just talked about, Philadelphia 76ers, the LA Lakers, and then obviously the Cavaliers, where he is now. Who do you think the best fit would be for him?
Well, you're looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers as sort of his hometown team. He's left them once before, and he sort of, in a way, if he had not come back, that would have completely ruined his legacy as a sort of Cleveland hero.
Yeah.
He's obviously won his championship with Cleveland. Sort of there's not much motive for him to stay other than it is his hometown team. Obviously, you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, sort of rebuilt after the last couple of years, after sort of decades of sort of being up there as one of the top teams.
Yeah, they've got a history, haven't they?
They've got a lot of history. Second successful team behind the Boston Celtics, I believe.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball, and there's always been big talks about him playing in LA, big huge market.
Yeah.
Sort of, it just seems right that one of the most successful
players
ever goes to one of the.
Yeah. I'd like to see him at Houston joining up with James Harden.
That would be a very good team.
Could say unstoppable.
It's unstoppable. I think there's two problems which sort of you probably start to find is cap space.
Yeah.
Can they afford to pay LeBron the max?
True.
And hold the contracts of Chris Paul and James Harden, and also you have sort of then two egos on the team, two players who like the ball a lot, James Harden and LeBron James. Yeah. We've seen problems like this with this year at first, although they saw that with the Oklahoma City Thunder after they acquired Paul George from the Indiana Pacers. So then you have Paul George and Russell Westbrook, splitting now points when they sort of split the points that the team's earning. So obviously their stats aren't as good. Philadelphia 76ers are certainly interesting.
Would you like
Very
to see
young team.
Joel Embiid?
Oh, I think it's they want him. They can pay him. The problem I see is where do you put? You get LeBron James in a small forward. Where do you then put former number one pick and still very young player Ben Simmons, who I rate a lot? He is basically, to me, the second coming of LeBron James. Very similar players and play style. It could make sense. So, but in general, I think the best fit for LeBron James is the Los Angeles Lakers.
I can see that.
I've always seen it happening one day, and I think now is a perfect time for both parties to pull the trigger and make it happen.
I think he'd thrive in LA.
Yeah.
That lifestyle.
Philadelphia's alright, but it's not LA. And LeBron James' entering is sort of
golden.
He's about 33 years old, I think, next year or now. So he's an athlete. He's a player that could play until he's 40 if he wanted to. But
he's a beast.
He probably wants that one last massive payday, and I think the Lakers have the best chance of giving him that.
Yep.
Given their contract situation.
Well, that's all I've got to say.
That's about it for this sort of episode of the EdgooseWakeford Sportscast. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. We've had lots to talk about.
Thank you very much for watching if you've made it all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be sure to see you next week for episode 6.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Catch you later. Thank you.
Bye.